Hi, my name is Scott Fishkind, and I wanted to have a quick conversation about the cost versus quality debate. I don't know if it's really a debate as much as a conversation. Which sparked this video is that I had posted on an online forum that this $699 Eastman E2OM was as nice build quality as my Ferk Yellow Master's Choice GCCR. And some people were kind of incredulous about that, but understandably, I mean, it does seem like a bold statement. I don't blame them for being a little bit taken aback, but I did want to explain where I'm coming from with this. Now, there's a lot of factors that go into the cost of a guitar. You know, the name on the headstock can be huge. So, for example, you could pay more for a laminate back and sides solid top guitar from Taylor than you would for an all solid Eastman. You know, it's just is what it is. I mean, to get this guitar, a similar guitar from Taylor, I'm sure this would be at least $1,500 at least, and it probably wouldn't be hand voiced. So, build quality. Let's start there. So the build quality to me is two main factors: the actual craftsmanship, as well as the basic quality of the materials. Now, the materials can be very, very different in expense, just in and of themselves. In fact, I have an Eastman E3 OME, which is basically this exact same guitar with Sitka spruce and Ovenkal woods, but the construction, the size, everything is the same. Similar sonically as far as the quality of the sonics. Of course, a cedar and sapele guitar is going to give you much different sound than a Sitka spruce and Ovenkal, which is why I have the two, because they have different voices, but in terms of the quality itself, it's the same. They're both beautifully resonant. In fact, because they're so well built and so beautifully constructed, they bring out the individual qualities of those tone woods. Just to really quickly go over the things, like if you took this guitar and you wanted to start adding the types of features I have on my Ferk, this would go up dramatically in price. For example, this has really nice Pingwell open gear tuners, but the Ferk has Goto 510s, which are like the top of the line tuners you can get, much more expensive. This is a true tone satin finish. That's a gloss finish. Gloss finishes are a lot more labor intensive. If you have even just the rosette here is a simple wood rosette. That one has very high quality abalone. Trying to think of other factors. Just the wood itself, that has East Indian rosewood on the back and side. It's AA quality, and there's AAA quality cedar. That's costing you a lot more money. And just so you know, the grading of tone woods, my understanding is that it's primarily based on aesthetics as far as how they grade it, and then of course individual builders will test it for stiffness and tap tone and things like that. Other things that create cost, this doesn't have a pickup, so that immediately cuts a lot of cost. That has an Anthem Stage Pro pickup. That's a really expensive pickup system. I mentioned the tuners. Hard case, this has a gig bag, that has a Hiscox case. Also, just things like binding and bling. Some guitars have beautiful abalone all around the binding and along the fingerboard. So there's a lot of things that can add cost that don't necessarily have anything to do with the sound itself of the acoustic part of the guitar. Like the pickup. So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting conversation to have, because a lot of times people just make an assumption that if you're paying more, that you're getting a better build quality and a more resonant instrument. I just don't believe that's the case. And I also just wanted to mention, I wouldn't count out builders like Eastman or Walden or Alvarez who are making, and I'm sure there's others that are making really nice guitars, but because they're not Taylor or Martin or Gibson, you're able to get them for a lot less money, but you're not sacrificing quality by any stretch of the imagination. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you so much for sitting through this, and I hope you have a great day.